Welcome to the GLAC Studios oil painting tutorial, class 7. I'm Gomati Sivasankaran. We are continuing to paint on oil painting portrait of a baby girl. A recap of what we have been doing. We had 6 classes of work until now. So starting with understanding the basics about oil painting in the kind of brushes and the kind of paints to use and what to choose in the beginning, and also the canvas. Then we looked at the canvas itself, how to work on the canvas and use some metrics. We used golden ratio to split the canvas for our subject, and then we also started doing a bit of drawing the lines or just marking where exactly the subject has to be placed in our canvas. Then we did something called blocking or filling in. That was the second layer. And then we moved on to doing the third layer, where we were defining little more of the second layer. We did a bit of dark and light as well. But in the third layer, we're defining more of the detail, maybe not getting into 100% of the detail, but trying to define a little more of the detail. And that's where we started working on the baby girl's face and her neck and her hands. We also did the same for her shirt and also the toy. So we're still continuing on that aspect of doing the third layer, and we will continue with that now. Before we are jumping directly into the activity for today, I want to repeat again, there are people or there are artists that prefer doing one at a time and maybe making sure, let's say for example, the eye is 100% perfect with all little minute details and then moving on to the next step. So that's one style of doing it, and what we are looking at here is a style where we are proceeding to do every single bit of the canvas on an average on one layer. So we covered the entire topography of this 40 by 40 centimeter canvas with the second layer. The first layer, then we did the second layer, and now we are going to repeat the same exercise of going over everything of the third layer. So that's what we are doing. So this is another approach to it, and I will tell you the difference between why we are choosing to do perfect detail in each and every section and moving on versus doing an average on all the sections and moving to another layer and doing the details on an average and developing on the whole the canvas. So the difference is very simple. When you have concrete content that you want to fill in and you are aiming at achieving every single perfection or naturalism, whatever you may call it, in every single aspect, and you're very sure of copying from somewhere, then it's a good idea for you to work on or focus on, for example, the hair only or the ear only, getting it done perfect and then moving on to the next step. This is a painting where we took a copy of the picture of the baby girl, but we did also say that we are going to make some more changes or developments to it on our own. So when we are combining something with our own imagination, it's a great idea to keep working on an average in all the sections of the canvas to make sure or to study for ourselves how exactly our imagination gels well with the picture itself. Okay, so I am experimenting as I go along, painting in all the directions. So it could give me an eye-opener also when I find that maybe my idea isn't so good enough. So I wouldn't have wasted too much time on one single detail to figure out that it is not a good match. So when I do an average of work, of layers on all the sections, then I get to see how the whole painting itself grows up. Is all my ideas sitting together in one place? Yes, then it's good to move on to the next layer and make more details. And the next layer to get on to even more perfection and keep on going in that direction. But the moment I see that my ideas are matching, gelling well, it gives me an opportunity to change, without having wasted too much time. So this is exactly why I choose to do it this way. People may choose a different, depending upon how confident you feel with the different aspects that you want to build into a canvas. Remember, we are making one painting. Yes, it's a portrait of the baby girl, but we are making one painting. It means, for me at least, it means every single nook and corner of this canvas has to speak together. It is one piece, isn't it? The one piece must be looking appealing overall. So I want to see whether it works. This is exactly the background of why they're doing it in this angle. But now I think we are ready to get started with experimenting. But today's work is going to be more on my experimental area. That is the grass section that I said I will build instead of the indoor atmosphere in the picture. For those who are directly joining in this class, the picture's copy is available on the link in the description. So the picture shows the baby girl in an indoor atmosphere, but we are doing an outdoor atmosphere, and I am doing a grass here. That's what I want to do, and the sky here. And these two are my own imagination, so I don't necessarily need the picture today. So I'm going to start with the olive green. This is what I had taken before when I was doing the second layer. So I will go back to the olive green that I want. Yeah. And maybe I will need a bit of the yellow. So, I'm also having it ready. I have permanent yellow light with me, but it's okay if you have permanent yellow or lemon yellow, anything will do. It's just going to be grass, and not necessary. It's my imagination. What I'm going to do, you can do anything different if you want. Cool. So these two are the ones that I need. I might need a bit of white. I think I had a bit from last class, but then can you see I already spoiled it with the color, so I guess I will need a bit of that as well. I have my titanium white also with me, so I will take them and I'll place them on my palette. Okay. So I have taken the colors here. Don't worry about what you see here. This is totally dry, and I try to reuse. So I have olive green, the permanent yellow, and a little bit of titanium white with me. And the brushes, they are the same brushes that I have. I have number 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 with me, synthetic brushes. I will start with 2. And I want to, before getting into a detail level, I want to do a little bit of homework. Remember, even in the imagination, even though it is imagination, there is some logic to this that I want to keep up. What is that logic? The logic of dark and light, shadow, and so on. So where was the light coming from? The light was always coming from this side, and so it's the left side of me or the right side of the baby girl, isn't it? The right side of the baby girl is where the light is. So I'm going to just mark something here to define where the light could be. So these are lines that I'm drawing for me to know where I want to stop with the light. And I am keeping up with this shape also, just to, put up that there will be light here for me. And then the shadow of the baby girl will be here in front of her, making it slightly darker. So there might be small spaces where it might be in between dark and light, but so that could be another tonality that I want to remember. And then over here, these are dark for me, and then I want to keep up the pace of showing dark here as well, and here as well, to just morph the toy. So I'm just making some slight marks, not too much of detail. If you see, I mean, it's not that you're going to make a clear line, but you're just defining some space, even though it's my imagination. I want to have some practicalities defined, so I'm doing that. So I might have some of these places slightly darker, and so there will be, if I have to write it down for you, can I put a L for you here? L, very light, then the lightest. D, can I say this is going to be a dark version of it? And over here, there's still, she's not too big that she's going to block the whole of the sun ray. Yeah. So this, I want to keep a, can I say M, medium for you? So I'm just putting this. This is what I am going to do to mark some textures of tonalities. That's going to be light, and then a dark, and maybe this will also be slightly the same darkness here, coming close to the, and then the rest of it will be a medium shade. Yeah, not too dark, not too light. This is what I want to achieve. So I have defined certain things like that to help me go over my imagination, but at the same time be on a clear plane in alignment with the subject. The subject has lights here, so that's why we have done this. Okay, now we are ready to go. And here again, this is imagination. So I'm going to take a brush that is a little bigger for me to work on. I think I have taken number 8, synthetic brush, round. These are all round brushes that I have for now. So I'm taking a bit of the green, olive green, and I want more of the yellow and more of the white to come up. So I'm just trying to see the lighter tonality. Is this convincing for me to build a lighter tonality? Good. This is going to be the lighter one. It's almost same as what I did before, so it's not even shown clearly. And this is what I want. And see, even though I had not defined it before in the second layer, I think I tried to align to this tonalities. That's why it's helping me to proceed in that direction. Even if you have made a mistake in the second layer, it doesn't matter. We can still be consciously making an effort to have different shades. So this is where it's going to be. So I have started with the tonality. I'm not going to paint up directly because I have something else that is planned, and I like doing it directly with the help of my small brush directly, taking a bit of olive green only. So I took the brush number 2 and a bit of the olive green, and I'm going to do some shapes too, because I want these the grass, and I'm thinking of some little white flowers, and this is something very common that you see in Denmark when you have, large parks or so. I think it's very much available in many places that you can see small little white flowers. And I don't want any other color flowers. I would love to, but I just do not want the attraction to go on the flowers. So they need to look beautiful, but still I will keep the main subject, my baby girl, as the key personality here. So I don't want too much of things going on. So I'm going to place some spots where the flowers would come. And I'm not doing too much of it. I'm just placing a slight spot where I like the flowers to come up. Maybe closer to each other, a little away, and I'm not doing much, in terms of painting it. I'm not painting anything right now. I'm just leaving some spots here and there, and it doesn't matter. So it's going to be close to where she is. It could be here, and maybe it could be coming out of this toy because the toy is placed on top of it. I'm just leaving some of the spaces there. I don't want too many. And another thing I want to do is that the vision, we have a camera close to the baby girl. So the farther we go away, these flowers must be looking like small spots. So I don't want it to look really big. I'm just making some spots where I would want the white color flower to appear. Yeah, it's not too big. Here it could be too little bigger. So I want to so look at these things that I'm trying to do. One thing, what we agreed was to do lighter and darker, the shading to show where the sunlight is and where the shadow is. Another thing, we want to look at expanse. We want to show expanse. And how do we do that? So the thing closer to you is much bigger. If you see, this toy is a little bigger. It's just coming right towards you because it's closer to your camera maybe, or closer to the child also, and closer to where you are as in relation to the child. But the things that are far away are further away. So you want to show that expanse and distance using making things look tinier. So I'm not going to make an effort on details there. So it's just going to be some space that I'm agreeing on right now in my mind. This is where things are going to be. And when it comes closer to you here, it's going to look a little bigger. And I'm just placing things slightly bigger here. Is that enough? Do we want more? It's up to you. I think I'm going to be okay with this. Just place it. Have we done enough planning? For me, I feel yes. So I'm going to get started with the brush number 8 again. And go over the same color tonality that I did. Green with lemon yellow or permanent yellow, whatever you might have, and a bit more of the white because we want to do the lighter tonality. And I'm going to go over the lighter tonality sections. I'm just moving the canvas to come closer to me. And when I paint, I will make sure that I'm not touching very close to the area where I decided to have the flowers. So this is where I will paint. Oil is the same oil that I've been using. It's hard. This is cold pressed raw lin oil that I've been having, and I don't take the whole bottle. Like I said in previous classes, it's usually a tiny bit that I have in a metal container or lid, rather. That's what I've been doing. So I take a tiny bit of that, and I'm just continuing to paint on those sections. It's always okay to paint on top of your the plans that you have made. It's always okay, but you should know where to go. So just leave a tiny bit of that to do this. If you are also trying to do the flowers, and it's okay if you want to have other flowers also. Doesn't matter. Just make sure that it doesn't look too beautiful and pretty and so much appealing that it attracts too much attention and moving the eye contact of the audience away from the eye that we have created for the baby girl. We don't want that. I'm just putting the green. So you see, I might have painted over, but there is slightly a dot there that is showing that this is exactly where I want the white to appear. And I might not do it today. I can do it later also when I get to the detailing of the flower. But for now, I think I'm good. I'll continue painting on. Be very careful when you come close to the section where you have already done the third layer. You don't want to spoil that or change the color of something. So be very careful with that. And there's one more thing. Remember the sides. So if this is light, the side will also be light. We will get to that. I'm just mixing some more of the olive green and yellow and white. I prefer mixing directly on the canvas, but I'm also doing it for the benefit of audience who love to see some structure already present. I'm trying to do it here as well. One thing we always go wrong when we are doing spontaneity with respect to the colors that we are mixing is that the color might not look exactly the same when we are mixing another coat. So that's exactly why some people who prefer to have a structure there love to have different color tonalities already mixed and ready on their palette before they get started. That is perfectly fine and it's a very good habit. Okay. This is where I'm going to say I'll have my lighter tonality. So I think I went on by the line that I had defined. So I have done this in this side. So now it's my only job to go over the lighter side and complete this section. Mixing a bit of the green, the yellow, and the white. Here's a little more white, I guess. Yes. I need a bit of the oil, not too much. I did that, so going over the other sections that is left over, and when I do that, I will also remember to do the sides. because the sides are going to be a similar tonality. Mhm. We're almost done with the front. So I'm coming close to the sides now. I'm going to start with the sides now in a while. Very short while. Mhm. Okay, now time for the sides. Moving this like this to do the sides. And remember, the direction really matters now. So I will not do a vertical movement. Why? Because I did a horizontal movement. It is a little inconvenient, sorry, because the tendency is to do it really faster with a vertical move, but I want it to be the sides to be in sync with what I did on the front. So when my customer or my friend, whoever is having a painting of mine, I want to make sure that they say I don't need a frame, because the sides also tell the story. They continue the story. And that's why I always insist on my students also doing immediately. Each and every layer that they work on, they do the sides as well. Okay. And maybe the sides might also have a flower, huh? Couple. I'll do that when I build the flowers. I guess this side is okay. Are we done? No. So there is another side to this. This is a little convenient because I will continue the horizontal move. Okay. So I have done the bottom also in the horizontal direction that I used. It's up to you. If you have chosen vertical, that is also a good idea. I mean, if you want to show grasses, it's also good to do that. It's not a big deal choosing between, horizontal or vertical, but just be consistent. That's more important. Whatever choice you have made, just be consistent on the sides as well. So I did this. I think I am convinced with the light. Now I want to build the dark and the medium. So let's get started with the tonalities again. So I'm taking a bit of the olive green and seeing, maybe I'll take a bit more of this yellow to see how the shade is coming. And add a bit of the white. Is this comparatively a shade that is medium, or is this Yeah, it looks like it can be a medium shade and not a dark shade that I have built. So I took a bit of white and also a bit of the yellow to build this. Okay, I'm convinced that this could be a medium shade. Yeah. So I guess I will go with this medium shade on this side. And if you see the difference, it's almost close to this and this. And this is why I wanted to have this shade first done, at least to decide on where I want to go. So I'll do that. If you see, it's closer. So it is closer to this, but still slightly darker, just one tonality darker. I'm removing the M for, and I did remove the L that I wrote. It was just for our own understanding that I did. And I did leave some space where I have plotted the flowers that would come. I'm doing the sides simultaneously because this way it's easier. For me, it's close to my body. So I'm doing that. And remember, I did mention that green has a tendency to dominate. So that's also a reason why I'm a little bit skeptical on not making it too bright at this stage. The attraction should be on the main subject, unless you have something else to say. Yeah, it depends on what you choose to say in a storyline in a painting. So it could be that you and I are painting the same picture, but the way you highlight or define the subjects, you could be telling a different story on what your audience is expected to look out for. That's amazing about art, isn't it? So again, going back downwards, I'm just maintaining the shadow space and doing the bottom, not too much, because I know that dark will come and take over some of the spaces. I did that. So there is not too much of a difference between the light here and the medium here, but there is. One can see that it is slightly different. And then I want to build the even darker space. So this is a little easier for me now. Third version of this color tone. So I have the dark. Maybe I will take a bit of the yellow. So I will not take much of the white because I think this one is a little more defining as dark. Be very careful. If you're not comfortable using the same 8 number brush, going near the baby girl or so, it's okay to take another brush. And remember, we haven't done the detailing to the extent. So that is the advantage. Even if you have made a mistake by going over, you can still fix. This is one advantage of not doing too much detail in one section of the painting. This is one advantage that you get. You can still go about adjusting things. See, while I made this adjustment, I made a mistake. I just touched a bit on her skin tone. So I'm just rubbing it off. But still, anyways, I will be reworking on her skin tone, isn't it? So it's not a big deal right now. It's worth taking the risk and learning. Doing this. And don't worry if it looks, yes, of course, it will look like you have made some, effort to define these lines. It does look like that. I understand that. But we don't need to worry about this level of detail at this time, because we are going to work again on the grass as well as we go the painting. So I did this section, and I'm just going underneath the canvas, the under section, and now we come to a much more detailed area. Just be careful. And I think it's a good idea for us to switch to, at least for me. I like going over some of the areas that is very minute with the help of brush number 2 instead of brush number 8. Let's see, where are we going now? We are going close to the fingers, the baby girl. I leave the space out for the flower, but I'll fill the other sections. I don't want to spoil the fingers. There are tiny spaces in between fingers also. Just be watchful of that. That could be showing the grass from underneath her body or underneath the toy, for example. So this we did not want. I just marked it as dark, D for dark. So I'm just taking this. I'm going to now take the picture as a support again very soon, because there are some places inside the toy that we wanted to show the grass or what is underneath the toy. I think I'm going to go back and look at the picture. Let us do that in a short while from now. If you are doing it in the same pace as mine, fantastic, or even faster, that's absolutely awesome. But if you are slow, that is perfectly okay. So remember to pause, do it in your own pace, enjoy the process of learning, and then let's come back together. So I have marked essentially the spaces, and I'll do that underneath as well. But before that, like I said, I want to pick up the picture for me what I was missing, because I remember making some mistakes with the colors also last time. Yeah, I did notice that. The blue has to be a bigger circle for me, and underneath that, I want to show the grass. So I will take a bit of that color to fill some of the space. The green. Now think I will readjust the blue shortly after I'm done with this. As I can see that the circle has to be a slightly bigger, broader. I'll do that. And then here, I think I made a mistake, so I'll have to correct that as well. So I'll do that. So this is a lot of space adjustment, because again here we'll have the green, but we will also have the space for the flower that I wanted to show inside. For me, I don't know about you, but for me, the red is still, the red color from the toy is still wet. So it's also coming along, but I'm not worrying too much about it, This is also a part of the learning, that we are trying to do perfect without touching the other colors. So it's okay if it comes. If it's coming too much, you might want to wipe off your brush, but otherwise I think you're good. Pick up the canvas to show you where I am going through, so that sections that we did not cover, just making sure that they are covered here now. And those spots that we made in between the toy, where there could be a possibility for someone to look into what is there underneath the toy. Have we done this? Again, the same logic goes underneath, isn't it? I'm rather looking at you because I'm able to see what you are seeing better in that camera, rather. I guess I've got it here. Do we have some space left over here? Yes. See, that's exactly why I said when we do the sides, we understand more of the logic of dimension and how to put it better. This is what we have done. The green. We can go to the blue area and work on the sky. So I'm going to keep these two brushes away, the green away, and I will go on to work on the blue area. So I'm going to pick up brush number 4, I suppose. First of all, correcting the mistakes from last class. So I'm taking the sky blue that I have a bit with me already. Took that, and this space that I said I need to have fixed, it had to look a little thicker here in the toy where I missed. I'm adjusting that. Did that. So that was about it. And the blue of the sky. What do we want? That's again your choice. You choose what you want to do, play around with it. Again, my imagination goes in a way where I want to, it's hard to imagine. We usually have a very, very gray atmosphere here in this part of the world where I am living. But I would love to see a blue sky, clear sky. That is, we do see that. It's not we never see it. It does happen. Just don't know when it does. I'm taking a bit of this sky blue. Maybe I need a bit more of the space, so I'm moving down here. I'm looking at the tonality what I have do I want it dewy blue? Remember what I did? I chose the shadows or the sharper lines in the baby girl's shirt to be a, and that's why I do not want the blue to dominate too much. Again, the same logic of making sure that things do not dominate too much. So I'm going to maybe make this tonality more lighter for me to feel like this is a much lighter blue sky. I'm thinking white, titanium white, to blend along with this blue. So if you have seen, I'm not even taking the blue. What I took from the last class is still good enough for me. I think I will continue with that. So I'm going to make that. This blue is lighter enough. This is where I guess I will make a stop with my blue. And I continue with brush number 4, round brush number 4, to go near the hair texture of the baby girl, just to see how things will look. So that's how the blue will look. So it will still be lighter than the shirt. So for now it looks okay. I guess I will take more of this and continue. While I continue, first thing I will try to do is to go over the sections close to the baby girl, just to be sure that I'm done with it. But remember, we are going to work in a great detail with her hair, so it's going to be a lot of work. So need not worry that if you have done too much of it here than you wanted, because anyways you will come back to the hair. So that is it. With the sides of the hair, this is where the sky and there's going to be a connection coming close to the sky and the subject's lines, where things will merge possibly. So I'm just doing that to be sure. So that's how things are going to look. For me, it's fine for now. So I'm going to go over the other areas a little faster now. I have defined them. You can see it's not moving faster because it's lacking a bit of oil. It's dry, but I've been mixing, so I will take a bit of the oil, not too much. Just go on. If it is slightly white, it is okay. I'm not bothered because I want the sky also to have some of the white lines. I'm thinking not to have clouds because, again, the choice that I made, I was thinking should I have clouds first, and then I thought if I'm going to have flowers here, then I don't want another element added. I just want few more additional elements and not too much of additional elements talking inside the space that I have. The space is the space also decides on how many elements you want to add. So maybe if I had done this in let's say a 60 centimeter by 80 centimeter canvas, I would have added more components like having some colored flowers or showing a small tree somewhere, something like that. Then my decision will be different because I have more space and I would want more story to tell, and it will not be cluttered or clouded. It's so easy when we want too many things, and this is something I also tell my students when they want too many things inside going inside one canvas. Take a decision on what do you want to say within the space that you have. The space is big, it's good. You have many things, and you might succeed in having justice done to each and every subject that you are creating. There could be multiple subjects, isn't it? What if we had a bunch of little ones like this? That's going to be super fun. You and I are in trouble big time, but it's super fun. Yeah? Then you will have a bigger canvas. Maybe you want a bigger story to say. So that is a good thing. But here we have a smaller canvas and one subject that is a key subject. So that's where I stand in the thought process where I say, okay, let's do justice to this subject. And that's why I take a decision on not having things cluttered. And remember, when I made this line, this was not in the direction that I wanted it to go. The flow of this brush stroke has to be horizontal for me. But what did I do? I used some vertical or crisscross lines to draw around. But I will remember to pull them out. These are tiny little details. But when we miss it out, it starts showing, in a little way it might show and you might not like it. At least I don't. So, get this side. The more sides I do, the lesser I have my space to hold. I always leave out one space where I will put my finger and hold my canvas. Remember, the easier way also is to have the easel stand put in, but I'm not doing this because there is only one light right now for me, and I'm showing you how to work with minimal support. So in this case, I'm imagining any artist, budding artist that is not having an easel also to manage with a slanted, table, maybe something. So trying to work on such spaces. It's amazing if you are doing that. That's how we all start. Then we start landing into different equipments. I did see one of the comments from the group. In a group of artists, I think it's called I Am an Artist or something. And I saw a mother of a 9-year-old asking, should I buy a lot of equipments for my 9-year-old? He is asking for this and that. I think it's a very good question. Children that are doing already a great job with oil painting and are taking up art very seriously. It is great, and it is okay to give them an introduction into different equipments, but it's also important for us to understand the cost factor. It might not be viable. Cost is one thing to buy some of the equipments that we want to buy. That impacts, and of course, space that you need to work on. That could be a challenge as well, isn't it? So, this is a very difficult question. But to just be practical, if the child wants to learn more, it's good to ask for some experimental sessions with some professional artists and ask them to show how things are done. Maybe ask them to use some of these equipments to see how it goes. And some of them may not feel comfortable. It's one thing to buy a lot of stuff, another thing to say, then figure out, then it's not so comfortable for me. So the child might not feel comfortable just because of the case that, it could be humongous to handle for a child So there's a lot of practicalities, and they might learn as well. So you never know. So experimenting, asking for help from artists to show them how things work, and asking them to maybe allow the child to work with some of the tools, and then seeing if that works before buying could be a better idea than investing a lot to just figure out that it's not going to work for the child, at least for a couple of years. Maybe, they are also growing, isn't it? Children grow, and, in a couple of years, they might feel more comfortable, but it could not be of good use at this moment. While I was talking, I did make a change because I was comfortable using a brush number 10, round brush, synthetic. So I pushed that brush across to go on those areas that were clearly, sky. And they are getting lighter. And for me, this is what I wanted. Uh, so not too much talking on the top in terms of concepts. And I'm happy with that. I did take a bit more of the sky blue as well to just mix with the white that I had. And I think I'm convinced with that now. So it's not too much, but it's done the job. And you never know, some of the layers, if you are convinced, you can stop at the third layer also. If you do not want to work on too much detail, like for example, in this case that I said, I'm not going to do the cloud. So maybe for me, this will be the third and final layer. You never know. I'm not going to take a complete decision on that right away, but there is a possibility for me. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Moving it around is now getting to be a challenge because I did the sides. This is one challenge, and I painted on a hair. Anyways, so I'm just looking at one thing, even if I wanted to do another layer, I might not come closer to the body of the subject. So I want to make sure that the sides that are closer to the subject are again. What did I do? There is one more thing. So I want to show, did I say that I wanted to show the expanse, and that's why we are going to do bigger circles here for the flowers and then smaller actually go on the top. So it's even going further away from us when we look at the expanse of the sky. So again, not too much in the coloring, but I want to make sure that they are very light, neutral, because they are away from us. And then there is the more of a black, not more, but slightly of the sky blue, showing in only some parts, not too much. So I'm just trying to see if I want to put in some streaks here and there of blue. Otherwise, I would say this is okay for now. And right now, I'm ready to do the sides as well. So let's do the sides. This is another level of challenge to do the sides. We will, okay, have the sides. You know more because you see more of it than me. So, so I am doing it. Can you see? I'm doing it in the same direction. So it's slightly slow. And I will remember to do one thing. I'll show you shortly what I should remember. I made some streaks, isn't it, with the light blue? The streaks will continue on the sides as well. Yeah, they do. So I did that. I think it is okay for now. Yeah. And before I do this side, I will do the top layer as well. It's so smooth because I mix a little bit of the oil. So I'm doing the top layer because I'm now running out of space to hold this little canvas. If you're not so comfortable doing the sides right away, it's a good idea to let it dry and do it. But then there is one risk that when things dry, then we might have to redo the color. And the tonality might be slightly different from the one that we created. Then it starts showing slightly different. So that's the risk. So it's a give and take. In the beginning of your practice, yes, it does matter because you might not have the right color tonality coming up. But with the experience, you will learn also to build color tonalities and adjust tonalities as you go along. So do not worry too much into that. Try to get the best that you want to do. Yeah, even though it's your first painting, if it's your first painting, try to get the best learning out of this. But if it doesn't exactly match because you had let it dry and you did it later, it's perfectly fine. It's a learning, isn't it? So you say to yourself, I know what I did. I was not able to achieve the same tonality. Then it's my learning. The next time I will learn a little more how to build the tonality. That's what I'm going to say to yourself. That is it. For now, we have finished the third layer. So I would say we are done with the third layer on every single millimeter of this 40 by 40 centimeter canvas. You cannot see more of my face because of this lighting now. It's gone, but still, yeah, we are done. The next class is going to be more exciting because we will start with the fourth layer. Amazing. And that will be more of details and yeah, slightly bit more of the challenge, but we'll see how we are going up to. But so far, if you have reached this far, it's very good. It is still a good painting. Well done. Congratulations on reaching here. And I would definitely love to see what you have done. Please do share in the comment section what you have done. And if you have questions, please do share so we can try to address the same. So just to summarize, we have now finished the third layer of the painting. What we did was to do some imaginary aspects on the side of the subject, and this is where I said I'm going to put in some space for grass instead of interior background. So I decided to do light, medium and darker shades where I put in some green color for the shades and the grass and left some space for the flowers, and then I did the sky as well. So this is where we stand right now, and looking forward to having you again with me in the next class to do the fourth layer together. Thank you very much and have a nice day. Thank you. Bye-bye.